my first Facebook Live. So, I wanted to share with you guys about the 4 access points to being present. The reason I wanted to share it with you guys is because it's been so valuable to me, and I'd be irresponsible not to share it. So, I just wanted to tell you just a little bit about my journey that led to getting to the 4 access points. So I'm Josh Pais. I'm supposed to say that. So I went to a very traditional Stanislavski-based actor training college, and it was all about whatever scene you were in, to think about what happened in your past, a past event that related to the scene. And I was pretty good at it. Like I would think about, I had a dog that was stolen when I was like 7, and it was really upsetting. And so I would think about that, and I would have emotions, and then I would try to integrate that into the scene, but it always felt like it was so disjointed and so much work, and I was going into my head and then trying to be with my scene partner, and it wasn't, it was like, okay, I guess this is what acting is. And then I was exposed to a teacher named Polly, I wish I knew her last name, who had just come back from working with this guy, Jerzy Grotowski, in Poland. And his training was all like incredibly physically based. It was very spontaneous. It was like getting so in your body and then letting things happen. And we started doing this physical training, and then I noticed when I was doing scenes that all of a sudden I didn't have to leave and go somewhere else. I was just in the scene because that training was the first time I experienced what I call being present, just quiet in my head and just really engaged with what was around me. And that was a big turning point for me, and I went on a journey for about 2 years to seeking out international directors, and like Tadashi Suzuki, the Avant-Garde Theater of Tokyo, just people from all walks of life that were doing different kinds of physical training connected to creativity. And basically I wanted to see how I could access spontaneity as a tool so that it wasn't something that just happened now and then. And so I wanted to concretely, how can I make spontaneity something I can count on? And then I was involved with a theater company named Circle Rep, and they asked me to start. They said, why don't you train people in what you've been learning? And so I directed them over a 13-month period, and trained them and experimented, and we started showing the work. And then from that, people said, why don't you teach? And I said, I'm not a teacher. And they said different places, Yale and NYU. And I was like, I'm not a teacher, dude. And then finally I was like, okay, yeah, all right, I'll try it. And so I've been teaching for years. So that's one piece of the beginning of Committed Impulse. So in terms of these 4 access points, for me as an actor, when I started auditioning, it was a disaster. It was horrible. It was, I would be home and I'd be prepared, and I would have everything locked and set, which is not how I work now, but it was like everything, okay, I got it, and then I would go into the room and I would start feeling nervous and anxious and fearful, and then I'd be in my head going like, what are they thinking about me? What am I, I'm not, how, and then, I'd kind of walk out the room with, my tail between my legs and being like, oh my God. So really it was the 4 access points that helped to turn things around for me. And once I really started integrating them and integrating what has become Committed Impulse, I started working, and I've been working steadily as an actor for decades. So the 4 access points. So a turning point for me was reflecting back. My dad was a theoretical physicist who worked with Einstein, and he had told me as a kid, when I was asking him what he did, he was like, I explore the building blocks of the universe, and he said, when I asked him to explain that, he said, well, you see this table? And I was like, yes. And he said, you see your knee? I was like, yes. And he said, the smallest part of the table, this is all going to make sense. And this, and the smallest part of your knee is the same thing. It's atoms. And when I was going through this period of being overwhelmed with all these emotions that felt like they were crippling my ability to create, I reflected back on that my body is atoms, and that's true, and so is yours. And instead of looking at when I was feeling, say, panicky in an audition, which would then lead me into my head, at that point, it doesn't so much anymore because of the 4 access points. It's like, if I just feel like this pounding sensation, or if I feel anxiety and I really feel what it actually is, it's just like energy that's moving. And if I don't hold it, and if you don't hold it as something bad, but just feel this energy and allow it to be there, then it all becomes creative fuel. So, all right, so let's get into the 4 access points. Does anybody, were there any questions? No.
No questions yet, but people are popping in and saying hi.
Oh, good. Hi, what's up? Thanks for being here. All right, so let's get into the 4 access points. So, for those of you that have been here for a couple minutes, maybe you've noticed that at some point, maybe something I said or something just not related to what I said, that you may have left what was happening right here and gone, I always use the example of gone to Bloomingdale's, you're just sitting there and then all of a sudden you're I wish we could cue in music, but it's all of a sudden you're gone and you're in a completely different place because you've left into a thought loop. So this happens for everybody, and let's play with the idea that you don't have control over when you leave, but you do have control over how much time you're going to spend in these thought loops, and they often end up being kind of very self-debilitating series of thoughts. So the first access point is called I'm back. And so everybody say I'm back. Maybe say it. Okay, good. That's good. All right, you're doing good. Okay. All right, so as soon as you're aware that you've left, and you may notice when you're having a conversation with someone, or maybe when you're in a high pressure situation, you start judging yourself. Anytime you leave, just listening and connecting to what's in front of you and go into either thought loops or go into what do I have to do later or what happened earlier, say out loud, I'm back. Okay? So we just want to train ourselves when we leave to come back. Now, if you want to just daydream, that's awesome. But in terms of creating, in terms of engaging an audience, it's really key to train yourself to be able to stay hydrated. No, to stay right here. Let's all have a water break. New York City water. So if you're, and if you're wondering if you checked out, or if you're like, no, I understand about being present, and like I really understand all this, then say I'm back. Okay. Any questions? Lillian's here with me. Anybody have any questions about I'm back?
No, but a few people said I'm back.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could write. You could write I'm back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they
just
did.
write I'm back. I'm back, and this is. There's no order to the access points, but this is key. This is an amazing training just to keep coming back, and every time you say I'm back and come back, it strengthens the muscle, and it really is a muscle to be able to stay right here. And this is key to create from my point of view. And these 4 access points, I'm going to burp. No, I thought I was. And these 4 access points are they open the creative channel, and it allows for good times, and maybe it opens the burp channel as well. So so the first one is I'm back. Okay, so all during this Facebook Live, if you notice you check out, just say I'm back, and let's just hang out. Okay, so the second one, and these are all very simple, is to connect to your immediate environment. I'm back. I just started judging myself, like, is this going well? Like, what am I'm talking to? Okay, I'm back. If Lillian can like this, but I'm just telling you that my mind just went that, and so I'm like, I'm back. I'm gonna come back here. So connecting to your immediate environment. So typically, if we enter a space, for example, a room, we just instantly in order to comfort our nervous system, we acknowledge, okay, this is familiar, and then the nervous system can settle a bit. But so it's like, for example, we'll just see like wall, lights, floor, table. So that's one level, but what I want to experiment with you guys with is to see it's really like seeing how a baby would see, or a dog would see, or a cat would see, maybe not one that's too domesticated, but how an animal would see. So to see in terms of color, shape, texture, lightness, darkness, and also space. So in a sense, instead of just going like, oh, this is a glass with Smurfs on it, to see the shape, not let go of trying to identify what it is, but just to shift your brain in a sense so that you're seeing color, shape, not identifying, but just seeing what is actually there. May seem a little abstract, but just look around your room or Starbucks or wherever you happen to be, and just take a moment. You can just breathe and just see in terms of color, shape, texture, lightness, and darkness. So for me, when I do that, it's like things settle. Time slows down a little bit, and I can really feel very connected to my immediate environment. Any questions? Any thoughts on that from anybody? No. Okay, I'm back.
People are loving it so far.
They're loving it.
Mm-hmm. They're laughing.
They're laughing.
Enjoying it.
Okay, good. All right. Should we end there or do the other two? Should we do the other two? Might as well.
Might as well.
Okay. So the first one is I'm back. As soon as you're aware that your mind goes, say I'm back. And you can do this if you're in a meeting, if actor and you're meeting with an agent, for example, or if you're public speaking and you are aware that you check out, just come back. It's not a bad thing that you check out. It's just awesome when you come back. Second one is connecting to your immediate environment. And the third one, and again, there's no order to these, but we'll go with the third one is connecting to the information that exists in your body in this moment. Because what we're training ourselves to do is to connect to what's current information. And the information in our body is always current, and it's always shifting. And the more you become aware of the information in your body, the more that you will discover that there's a constant shift of information that's happening, and you want to, in a sense, latch on to that as your creative guide track, as opposed to the thoughts that most thoughts, if you're creating and in a high pressure situation, most thoughts will evolve to some form of I suck. And so we don't need to hang out there because it's not true. So, you can notice if there's any movement inside your body. Notice if there's emotion in your body. In each moment, there's a predominant emotion. I feel like in my chest, like a little bit of fear and a little bit of exhilaration. So see what part of your body feels expansive. See what part feels contracted. Notice any difference between the right side of your body and the left side of your body. Notice what kind of energy, what kind of energetic movement is happening within your body. We're just atoms, electricity, energy. Just let yourself feel that. See what emotion is there and just breathe into it, just to feel it. And the interesting thing about connecting to whatever emotion is there is that any sensation that you fully connect to will shift within 7 to 12 seconds. And then it'll shift and it'll shift and it'll shift. And so if you are putting yourself in a high stakes situation like an audition or public speaking or meeting with somebody important or being on a date or whatever it may be, even if you feel what you call anxiety, which is probably just energy like this, most of the time what people do, because they have an association that anxiety is something that's bad, and so they try to get rid of it and disconnect from their body. But the downside of disconnecting from your body is that your attention's going to go in your head, and then it's going to be some kind of crap. So you can either party with this sensation, and it's not bad. If you can get to that there's no bad sensation, it's all vibrations. Like sadness is usually a heaviness and a pull down. Anger is usually like a charged sensation. But none of we just want to honor that we're in a constant state of shift. So just see what you feel right now. Let's put those three together. So say I'm back. See what's around you. And at the same time, as you look around, just maintain a connection to whatever you feel in your body. So really feel your body, whatever's happening, and just see. And if you leave, say I'm back. I just burped. I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't know when. Any questions on that, or are we good? Should I keep going?
Yeah, people are chiming in. Adelaide said she loves the idea of seeing the way a baby or an animal sees. It's more settling. Lisa said she really loves the word embodiment in CI. We have a question from Ilir about how you visualize a script. Do you use this when you're visualizing a script?
Do I use this when I'm visualizing a script? I use this. This is a great thing to do before, if you notice, like just walking to set, or when you're walking to do a public speaking or walking to do a presentation or whatever it may be, there's pressure building, and there's going to be an increase. The more that you put your ass on the line, the more there's going to be an increase in body sensation. That's guaranteed. And feeling this increase in body sensation does not mean that you're not ready. It does not mean that you're not professional. It's like, I've worked with people on incredible high, by that I mean a societal high level of success, and they feel just as much terror, anxiety, fear when they go to their next level. So this is normal, and these tools are so that you can party with it as opposed to trying to get rid of what's happening and ending up in your head. So these 4 access points I use before shooting a scene, in my day-to-day life. If I've caught that I'm in a mental drama, I use it just to bring myself back, and it's like everything's okay. So I don't use this particularly to work with a script. I use the inner atomics, which I don't think we'll get into really in this Facebook Live, but that's another part of the Committed Impulse training that we do in class. Anything else? Were there any other questions based on this stuff, or should we keep going?
So 2 things. Robert says that
Robert, what's up? Okay.
That the Mr. Mushy thing, knowing that Mr. Mushy never stops, helps him tune Mr. Mushy out.
Yeah. So Mr. Mushy. So there's a just so you guys know, there's an audio that on the Committed Impulse website that breaks down these 4 access points as well, that you can listen to. It's available. What do you click on the website? Like free class or login, whatever. And in it, I refer to the mind like as Mr. Mushy. You know, it's like Mr. Mushy has taken me over. It's like, and you start judging, like, how am I doing? Do they like me? Is it good? Am I too late? Should I be more successful by now? I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too fat. I'm too thin. Why haven't I? Oh, they're much better. You know, all that. It's like, it's Mr. Mushy. Just like, come back. It seems like it's valuable to spend time thinking about that stuff. It on some level seemed, it's really good use of my time. It's not. Just like, come back. We want to open the creative channel. These 4 access points open the creative channel so that you can do work that's far beyond what your mind could come up with.
Lisa wants to know, can you talk more about connecting with an emotion and it will shift in seconds?
Okay. Yeah, connecting with an emotion, it will shift in seconds. So I'll go on a little tangent, but in like a post-Freudian culture, or maybe we're still in somewhat of a Freudian culture, there's a strong belief system that there are good sensations and bad sensations. And if you're feeling the good sensations, everything's fine. If you're feeling the bad sensations, then something's wrong. And so let's say if you're feeling some, nervousness, let's say, that's especially in acting school, like, if you feel nervous, like it's bad, you're bad. That's not true. It's just natural. And what we want to do is, and with Committed Impulse, is all about increasing your tolerance for the full spectrum of sensations. So we have to be aware that out of this belief system that there's bad sensations, that's a cultural belief. And because of that, when we feel these bad sensations, we try to process them, get rid of them, breathe them away, do all kinds of techniques to get rid of this bad sensation. But it's not a bad sensation, it's just atoms vibrating. So the things, and who is this?
Lisa.
Lisa, so the sensations that you don't like to feel the most are the ones to start to welcome and to experiment allowing and feeling them when they occur. And that will build your tolerance for them so that you don't have to push things away. As long as we're pushing away body sensations, we're going to be in our head. The more we can allow the body sensations to do their thing and stay connected to the immediate environment and catch when we leave, gold. And the thing is, even if you feel anxiety, but you really let yourself feel it while you're connecting to an audience, whatever that audience may be, one or thousands, you're centered. You want to speak from your truth in that moment, and that's what will engage people. So, and the more that you connect to what's there, you know, like in Committed Impulse in classes, we do like some stream of consciousness where you're just like reporting what you're feeling. And it's just like, I feel sad, I feel happy, I feel calm, I don't feel anything right now, I feel frustrated. And it's like, and we just want to allow this flow of sensation to occur. It just takes practice.
And we have two questions that kind of go together.
Yeah.
Jordan asks, the body knows and the mind interferes. And then Chantel asks, why do we give such value to mush?
Okay, what was the first question?
The body knows and the mind interferes.
Yeah, is that a question? I think that's
Put a question mark at the end.
Okay.
Maybe
yeah, the body knows. We want to honor this. Like what our body does, the magnificence of this magical thing that processes, takes in oxygen, digests, I hear my stomach, I heard it, burps, compared to like that part. I'm not talking about the part of your mind that comes up with inspirational ideas. I'm talking about the part that is just like, like, this is genius. Listening to like, you suck, you're not doing it, you're not good enough, you should be further ahead. Like, I prefer to listen to this as opposed to how I'm not fill in the blank. So yeah, the body knows. And so much of the Committed Impulse training is to get so in your body that you're creatively invincible. You can unstoppable. Okay, and what was the second?
Why do we give such value to Mr. Mush?
Why do we give so much value to our thoughts? I think it's part of this cultural thing of, you know, believing that it's almost like an indulgence in analyzing and overanalyze. Why am I thinking that? What is that? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, instead of trying to figure out why your thoughts are, like, I've been working with people for 25 years with Committed Impulse, and like everybody has fucking shitty thoughts. Really. Nobody and everybody thinks, oh, I thought it was just me. So if you spend time in there, it's just going to be crappy. And if you spend time trying to analyze why you have such crappy thoughts, it's like, that's what your mind wants. So so what I say is, like, instead of trying to improve your thoughts, waste of time, come back. Don't spend time up there. Your mind would love for you to analyze, like, why are my thoughts so bad? Why do I have such bad self-esteem? Like, self-esteem, what most people call self-esteem, is just having low self-esteem is just listening to the crap in your head. So that's why I just want to come back. When you're engaged with your body and what's around you, you're not listening to your thoughts. And this is where the magic is.
We've got a question from Lucy.
Okay, and there's one more access point, so stay tuned, kids. Okay.
Lucy wants to know, how do we practice increasing tolerance for the sensations we don't like?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is come to Committed Impulse class. Well, an indicator often that we've left a sensation that we don't like is when we're in our head. Because without, like, this training will undo this, but without awareness, you'll feel something and you've decided, probably a long time ago, that that's a bad sensation. So you attempt to escape it, and the best way to escape it is to cut off the connection to your body and go in your head. So so you want to kind of slow that process down. If you notice, like, you're in your head, like, sometimes I'll be up here and I'll be like, oh, no, and then it's like, come back to my body, and chances are I'm feeling something that I don't particularly like. But by just hanging out with it and feeling it, the sensation in terms of what is the movement? What is the movement inside my body? Because that's what the emotions are. It's either movement like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. So we just want to come back and just, like, take some breaths, and just, in a sense, you almost want to get intimate with the sensations that you've been running away from, so that when they occur, and they will occur, and it doesn't mean anything when they occur, you'll be able to, like, hang out with that. Okay, so we'll go to the last access point, because I know dinner's coming soon, right? So again, back. So the last access point, and you may have noticed this when you really connected visually to your immediate environment, is breathing. And there's many kinds of breathing, but there's two kinds of breathing that I want to take a look at. So one kind of breathing is to breathe to get rid of what you're feeling. And this is very common, like, almost coming out of, like, the New Age movement of trying to get to, like, this place of, or the zone or something. This work will take you there as a byproduct, but it's not the goal. So just for a moment, I want you to try to breathe to disconnect from your body. It's almost like, like, devil be gone. Like, I don't want to feel that. Like, just for a moment, just try that. Like you're trying to get rid of what you're feeling. Okay, good. So, don't ever do that again, okay? We don't want to do that, because if we breathe to disconnect from our body, we're going to end up in our head, and we don't want to do that. So breathe to, in a sense, you want to put, like, gas on the flame of sensation. It's like you want to breathe to connect, breathe to, so let's put all the access points together. So just say I'm back, in case you've drifted off. Connect, see what's around you. Feel whatever sensation is in your body, even if it's just feeling your butt in the chair. And breathe. So sand back, connect to your immediate environment. Notice whatever you feel in your body, and keep your breath going. And typically one of the first things that happens if we feel something that we have a low tolerance for is the breath decreases, so that we start to disconnect from the body to decrease it. Of course, that leads to being in our head. As I said before, I highly recommend staying with the charge of the body, whatever it is, as opposed to listening to the crap in your head. Those are the 4 access points. I'm back. Connect to the room. Connect to your body. Breathe. That's it. And, for actors, like when you are in a scene and you've just finished, a scene on a play or a movie or a TV show, and it was just effortless and everything was happening and you were just there. If you look back in retrospect, you were doing the 4 access points. You were connected to your body, you were breathing, and you were connected to the people and the environment around you. And so this opens the creative channel. Yeah, now that's all I got. Any questions?
Robert wants to know if you have a formal practice of meditation.
A formal practice. Nothing I do is that formal, but I often meditate. I often do some grounding work, but it's what I suggest in terms of meditation is not to do meditation to get to someplace different. Not to do meditation that is leading you to get rid of sensation, because that will ultimately, when you come out of the meditation, will lead you to be more in your head. So you want it to be my suggestion is whatever form of meditation, and you can include this with any form of meditation, is so that it's an inclusion of your entire being. And so I do one thing that I do almost, I really do the 4 access points now. It's just like part of my life. It's like as soon as I'm aware that I'm gone, I check back, connect, boom, and I'm back. Any other questions?
Nope. Rich Goldstein says congrats on your first Facebook Live.
Thank you, Rich. I don't know, are we done? Is the Facebook Live over? I got in my head about the Facebook Live. I had to keep coming back. On my walk over here, I was like, what do I do? I was like, I'm back. See the buildings. See, walk, breathe. So that's all I got to say. We got a bunch of classes coming up in the fall. It's all on the Committed Impulse website. There's some great, amazing classes with amazing people. Just the people that take class are extraordinary. There's an online program you can check out, which is a great way to just take what we just talked about to the next level, and it's accessible 24/7, lifetime, access, and it has great exercises and kind of expands on this. Come. I hope to see you in class, and I hope this was helpful. And thanks for checking it out. Oh, Lillian's writing something. She's the online program. I talked about the online. Yeah. Okay. Online program. Yeah. Yeah. Seriously, the online program is awesome. Love you guys. I hope this was helpful. And rock on.